Level 1. The summer intern, the meat grinder. It is 3 a.m. The harsh, sterile hum of the fluorescent lights above you feels like a physical weight, pressing down on your skull. Your mouth tastes like stale pennies and cold, cheap coffee. A sharp pain of acid reflux burns your throat, but you swallow it down. You are staring at a glowing monitor, your bloodshot eyes stinging as you manually align a text box on slide 42 of a pitch book that no one will ever read. You have been sitting in this exact chair for 18 hours straight. Welcome to J.P. Morgan. You thought you were the elite. You thought you were going to change the global markets. But right now, you are nothing but a formatting monkey. The air in the bullpen smells like dry sweat and desperate ambition. You hear the heavy footsteps approaching from behind. It is your VP. Your heart hammers against your ribs like a sledgehammer. You feel a cold drop of sweat slide down your spine. He drops a thick stack of printed models onto your keyboard with a deafening thud. Arial, size 10, not 11. Fix it, he barks, his voice devoid of any human empathy. He does not even look at your face. To him, you do not have a name. You are just a disposable piece of meat in the grinder. Your hands tremble slightly as you grip the mouse. You are terrified, exhausted, and running on nothing but pure adrenaline and fear. But you click the mouse, you fix the font, because you want that return offer. The golden handcuffs are already slipping onto your wrists, and you do not even realize it. Level 2. First-year analyst, the Excel slave. You made it. You survived the brutal summer and secured the full-time contract. But the victory tastes like ash and stale tobacco in your dry mouth. You are now a first-year analyst, permanently chained to your dual glowing monitors. The rhythmic, deafening clack of your mechanical keyboard is the only soundtrack to your miserable existence. Your vision blurs as you stare at a massive discounted cash flow model, your bloodshot eyes hunting for a circular reference that is breaking the entire spreadsheet. You are building an LBO, a leveraged buyout, for a ruthless private equity firm looking to gut a manufacturing company in the Midwest. Your numb fingers move on autopilot, artificially tweaking the EBITDA margins to make the deal look profitable. But then, for a split second, your exhausted brain processes what those digits actually mean. You are not just changing cells in Excel. You are erasing 5,000 factory jobs with a single keystroke. A violent shiver runs from your heels to the top of your skull. Your stomach twists into a hard, painful knot. You look around the bullpen. Nobody else cares. They are all staring blankly at their screens, silent ghosts trapped in tailored suits. You try to speak, to question the morality of this bloodbath, but the words die in your throat. Why? Because the seductive whisper of the year-end bonus echoes in the empty room of your mind. You think of those thick blue strips, the dirty money that will wash away your guilt. You take a deep, trembling breath, inhaling the recycled dead air of the office, and you press enter. The transaction is saved. Your innocence just died, buried under a mountain of synthetic debt. Level 3, associate, the whip. 3 years of grinding have completely hardened your soul. You are now an associate. Welcome to the lowest, dirtiest rung of middle management. You no longer build the financial models. You are the one who demands them. You have become the exact monster you used to despise. You walk down the narrow aisle, the sharp, aggressive scent of your expensive Tom Ford cologne completely failing to mask the sour stench of your own chronic exhaustion. You drop a thick, bleeding red marked pitch book onto a terrified first-year analyst's desk. Please fix, you say. Your voice is flat, dead, devoid of any human warmth. You see the sheer panic in his trembling hands. You hear his breath hitch, but you feel absolutely nothing. The empathy has been violently burned out of your system. You walk away, your expensive leather shoes clicking sharply against the polished marble floor. You are finally invited into the glass-walled conference rooms now. You sit in the dark corner, silent, watching the managing directors, the old men, orchestrate the real game. You listen as they casually discuss offloading highly toxic assets onto civilian retirement funds. They are knowingly packaging pure poison and selling it to the innocent as solid gold. A drop of cold sweat trickles down the back of your stiff collar. You know it is a rigged casino. You know it is a massive scam. But you just nod, wearing your flawless corporate mask. You are sliding down the slippery slope, and there are no brakes left. You traded your soul to the devil, and he gave you a platinum corporate card in return. Level 4. Vice President, the hustler. Listen to me. Being a VP is not about running financial models anymore. It is about pure survival. You are the deal runner now. You either bring in the meat or you become the meat. Your heart constantly beats like a sledgehammer against your ribs, a non-stop, exhausting rhythm. You pop a beta blocker dry, swallowing hard just to stop your hands from shaking before you walk into that high-end Manhattan steakhouse. The air inside is heavy, thick with the smell of aged ribeye, expensive cigars, and pure, unfiltered greed. You sit down across from the suits, those corporate CEOs who look at you like you are just a glorified, highly paid salesman. Because, let us be honest, you are. You look them dead in the eye, and you lie. Smooth, practiced, beautiful lies. You pitch them a toxic merger, a deal so heavily leveraged it could easily bankrupt their entire company in 3 years. But you do not care about year 3. You only care about your closing fee today. You slide the thick contract across the polished mahogany table. The cold sweat on your palms makes the heavy paper slip slightly. You hear the sharp clink of crystal glasses as they toast. To synergy, they say. You smile, but inside, your stomach is twisting into a violent knot. You know exactly what you just did. You just sold them a ticking time bomb wrapped in a red ribbon. The line between a legitimate banking transaction and white-collar crime? It does not exist anymore. It is just a blurry haze of blue strips and offshore accounts. You walk out into the freezing night, the biting wind slapping your numb face, and the horrific realization hits you. You have crossed the point of no return. Level 5. Executive Director. The politician. So, you survived the hustle. Now you are an ED. But let me tell you a dark secret about this rank. The game is no longer about finance. It is pure, cutthroat office politics. You want that managing director title? You have to step on the necks of the exact same guys you used to grab beers with. You are standing in a massive, 5-star hotel suite in Dubai at 4 in the morning. The air conditioning is freezing, biting into your skin, but you are sweating right through your custom-tailored shirt. You are looking out at the glittering, soulless skyline, a heavy glass of 50-year-old scotch in your trembling hand. The ice clinks loudly against the glass, sounding like a gunshot in the dead silence of this empty room. You just got off a secure line where you actively, deliberately, sabotaged your closest rival's deal. You fed his client to the wolves just to secure your own promotion. The chilling reality of that betrayal runs down your spine, leaving your entire body completely numb. Tomorrow morning, you will shake his hand, look into his eyes, and smile. Right now, you are swimming in an ocean of dirty money, trying to figure out how to wash it clean for the shadowy figures waiting in the lobby downstairs. The ghosts of your old morals do not even haunt you anymore. You are surrounded by hundreds of people every single day. You are shaking hands, closing multi-million-dollar deals, getting the respect of Wall Street. But the silence when you are alone? The silence in your own head is deafening. You are completely, utterly alone. You have built yourself a beautiful, bulletproof golden cage, and you just threw the key right into the abyss. Level 6, Managing Director, the god of the floor. You finally made it. You are the MD, the absolute god of the floor. You pull in 7, maybe 8 figures a year, easy. Your bank account looks like a phone number. But let me ask you a very simple question. When was the last time you actually slept? Not passed out from pure, blinding exhaustion. Not those chemically induced, blackout comas. Real sleep. You are standing in the middle of your massive 10,000 square foot Manhattan penthouse. The air conditioning hums, but the space is completely silent. A deafening, suffocating silence that rings in your ears. Your family? Gone. The divorce papers sitting on the marble kitchen island are just another corporate contract you signed without even reading the fine print. You pop 2 heavy Ambien pills, swallowing them dry. You feel the bitter, chalky chemical taste coating the back of your dry throat. You walk over to the floor-to-ceiling windows, pressing your hot, sweaty forehead against the freezing, thick glass. You look down at the city. Tomorrow morning, you will walk onto the trading floor. You will smell the sharp scent of stale adrenaline, cheap coffee, and pure desperation. You will look down from your glass office at hundreds of young, exhausted kids staring at glowing monitors. You see exact, tragic copies of who you used to be, grinding their lives into dust. And for what? So you can sign one single piece of paper that will launch a hostile takeover of a rival firm. With one quick, arrogant stroke of your expensive Montblanc pen, you dictate the fate of thousands of civilians. You hear the sharp, crisp scratch of the nib on the heavy paper. You have ultimate power. You can buy literally anything on this planet. But this golden cage you built for yourself? The bars are so incredibly thick, so cold, that you cannot even breathe anymore. You are a king, reigning over an empire of absolute, terrifying nothingness. Level 7. Group Head, the Puppet Master. Now, you are breathing the rarest air on Earth. You are the group head, a partner at the firm. You do not even deal with regular corporate clients anymore. That is beneath you. You deal with entire nations, central banks, federal regulators. You are the ultimate puppet master, standing in the dark, pulling the invisible strings. You are sitting in a private, heavily guarded dining room in Washington, D.C. The air in here is thick, smelling heavily of polished mahogany, extremely expensive cigars, and old, terrifying money. You are having a quiet, hushed steak dinner with the exact same guys who write the financial laws. The regulators, the SEC, they are not your watchdogs anymore. They are your lapdogs. You grip the heavy silver steak knife. You lean forward, slicing slowly through the rare meat, watching the dark red liquid pool on the pristine white porcelain plate. You look them dead in the eye, and you calmly explain how you need a specific regulatory loophole. A tiny, deliberate blind spot in the new legislation, so J.P. Morgan can hide billions in toxic derivatives through dark pools. You speak in a low, smooth, almost hypnotic whisper. You are literally engineering the next global financial crisis right there, over a slice of cheesecake. Your hands are perfectly manicured, clean, washed of all sins. There is not a single drop of visible blood on your tailored suit. But the decisions you are making at this very table will bankrupt entire countries. You will turn millions of hard-working civilians into ghosts, wiping out their entire life savings and pensions overnight. And the absolute craziest, sickest part of it all? You do not feel a single ounce of guilt. Nothing. Your heart beats at a slow, completely relaxed pace. The empathy center in your brain has completely rotted away, replaced by pure, unfiltered greed. You look at the men across the table and you smile. It is a cold, dead, shark-like smile. You actually believe you are a god. You believe you are completely untouchable. You are spinning the massive wheel of destiny, completely blinded by your own toxic narcissism, ignoring the massive, devastating crash you are about to cause. Level 8. The C-suite. The void. This is it. The absolute apex. You are sitting in the C-suite, a permanent fixture on the board of directors. The air up here on the top floor of 270 Park Avenue is impossibly thin, perfectly climate-controlled, and completely sterile. You rest your heavy hands on the massive, cold oak boardroom table. You look up at the giant Bloomberg terminals mounted on the walls. The screens are flashing a violent, bloody red. A massive, catastrophic global market crash is unfolding right before your eyes. Down on the trading floors below you, it is pure, unfiltered chaos. Men are screaming, sweating through their expensive suits, watching their entire careers evaporate into thin air in a matter of seconds. But up here, in the void, it is absolutely, terrifyingly silent. You take a slow, deliberate sip of room-temperature water. The heavy crystal glass feels like ice in your numb fingers. You feel absolutely nothing. No panic. No fear. Why? Because you already made the private phone calls. The government bailout is completely secured. Too big to fail, they said. You just engineered a systemic collapse that will instantly foreclose millions of homes across the country. Hard-working families will be completely destroyed. Innocent civilians will lose everything they spent their entire miserable lives building. But J.P. Morgan, the firm survives. You survive. Your multi-million-dollar executive bonus is fully protected by a golden parachute. You stand up slowly, your joints aching from years of chronic stress, and walk over to the thick, bulletproof glass window. You look out at the gray, depressing Manhattan skyline, but instead of seeing the sprawling city, you just see your own reflection staring back at you in the cold glass. You stare deep into your own dark, hollow eyes. There is absolutely no soul left behind them. The young, naive, ambitious kid who walked into this building years ago wanting to change the world, he is dead. You murdered him with every single promotion, every single dirty deal, every single moral compromise. You stare at the absolute monster you have become. You think you are in control of the game? You think you conquered Wall Street? No. Wall Street conquered you. It chewed you up and swallowed your humanity whole. You realize the ultimate, terrifying truth of this golden cage. Money cannot buy you a single second of actual peace. It cannot buy you a good night's sleep. It only buys you a much bigger, much more expensive, and incredibly lonely bed to lie awake in, waiting for the dark.